my special guest, Ambassador John Bolton, and he served as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations back in 2005 until 2006 under President George Bush. Welcome aboard, and what an honor.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we talked. We interviewed you. I think it was in Tampa at the convention.
Right.
It was on Radio Row. Yeah. I want to ask you. It's my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's my opinion that President Obama. Everyone says he hates the 1 percentile. I don't think it's the 1 percentile he hates. I think he hates America. And I think when I know this guy, like he wants to take America down a peg. That's what I sense. Am I wrong?
Well, I think he has a view of America that's radically different from most Americans and stands in particular contrast to Ronald Reagan's view of America. And I see it mostly through the prism of foreign and defense policy. But Obama told us during the 2008 campaign that his priority was, and these were his words, to fundamentally transform the country. And I think by that he means transform it domestically. That's what his agenda is. So when it comes to national security policy, I think his very focus on this domestic transformation that he wants to accomplish diverts his attention from the rest of the world, and that makes him very different from a long line of presidents, Republican and Democratic alike, going back to Franklin Roosevelt, whose first thought every morning after Pearl Harbor was, what threats does the United States face in the world today? That's just not Obama's view of things, and it reinforces his ideological view that America is too strong, too assertive, too powerful, too much in the world, and that, in fact, we are part of the problem. We are part of the cause of instability and hostility. So that if America is weaker, more inward-looking, less assertive, in Obama's view, that will make the world a safer place. I think that's like looking at the world through the wrong end of a telescope, but I think that's Obama's view.
Then there's these radical cuts then in defense. That falls right in line with what you're saying.
Exactly. And, the cuts that were announced in the president's defense budget on Monday are just the latest in a series of cuts that have been going on for over 5 years. I'm leaving aside now the cost of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. For comparison purposes, these are cuts to the base military budget, which over this 5-year period now exceed $1 trillion, with more to come. Whereas, by contrast, on the domestic side of the budget, the stimulus, $900 billion, all their other programs, expansion of entitlements, food stamps, Medicare, Obamacare, you name it, have driven the deficit and the national debt way up. The part of the budget that's hurting is the Defense Department budget. So in a way, Obama is following the same social democratic path of many in Europe, reducing defense expenditures and increasing welfare. The difference, of course, is that Europe always had the United States in back of it. And if you look around in back of us, there's nobody there to protect us if we don't protect ourselves.
So, and their perception is what of us? I mean, you take we know Putin, but Putin, but the perception is not good, is it? I mean, it's like they don't trust us in Europe.
No, they think that we don't have any staying power. They don't think we're loyal. They think we're going through another fit of isolationism. And it's very ironic because Barack Obama and Ron Paul look at the world in different ways, but they come to the same conclusion, ironically, when it comes to protecting American interest around the world. So our friends and allies see this problem just as much as our adversaries, and you get into a perception, a kind of cycle of decline issue that's very hard to get out of, and especially with 3 more years of Obama looming ahead. So this is something I think the Republicans have failed on collectively, to alert the people that Obama's indifference to threats to American national security are going to come back to bite us. When we don't debate these issues, when we don't discuss how to respond to challenges abroad, it doesn't make us any safer. Quite the contrary, it makes us weaker, because when the threat finally materializes, we're not going to be ready for it.
So how do we fix this? Do we just there's really nothing we can do until we have the change in government, or what can we do? And
well, I think ultimately there's no doubt you're right, we need a new president, but in the meantime, I think it's important to alert the American people that we've got a real problem here. I honestly think the American people are very practical. You know, they know they're not going to get involved in the intricacies of foreign affairs, that they've got other things, their jobs, their families, their communities to worry about. That's what they pay the people they elect and send to Washington to do. And if explained what the situation in the world is, I think the American people over the course of our history have always risen to the challenge. What we're facing here is not a problem of the American people. It's a failure of their political leaders, Obama and the Republicans alike. So I think it's important to raise this issue. It's why I've set up my own PAC and super PAC to help out House and Senate candidates in this fall's election who understand the importance of a strong national security policy and try and get the debate started.
And let's talk a little bit about North Korea. I would think at this time this was got to be the worst timing to start cutting with that nutcase we have. And what are we doing with North Korea? I know a lot is going behind the scenes that we don't see. What do you think is going on behind the scenes?
I wish you were right on that. I wish there were a lot going on behind the scenes. The problem is, in fact, that the Obama administration is just not paying attention to the continued progress that Kim Jong-un and that the world's only hereditary communist dictatorship are making on their nuclear program and their ballistic missile program, because it's ultimately when North Korea is able to put a nuclear warhead on top of a missile that can reach the United States that the threat's brought home to us. But you add North Korea nuclear proliferation, Iran, and programs elsewhere, we've got instability and terrorism spreading throughout the Middle East, the proliferation of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons. So North Korea, Iran are the two worst examples of it, but there's a lot going on, and the White House simply is not paying adequate attention to it.
And what really disturbs me when I see how Obama is handling Syria, Ukraine, and then Putin comes in to be the mediator, and then I'm saying, if he ever connects to the nut in North Korea, this is a very bad situation, very scary. Am I right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think both our adversaries and our friends around the world see an inward-looking, withdrawn, declining American power, and our friends are very worried about it. You can ask not just Israel in the Middle East, although they're very worried, but our Arab friends as well. European leaders who welcomed Barack Obama to the presidency, thought he'd be a good change from the Bush administration, where I served, are now completely disillusioned because they see that it's not that he has a view of the world closer to theirs. He doesn't have any view of the world at all. He just doesn't see American power as important. If anything, as I said before, he thinks that our power is provocative. And in fact, even people who criticized the United States during the Bush years understand that it's not American power that's provocative, it's American weakness that's provocative, and that's what we've got going on right now.
I got about 30 seconds, and Ambassador, let's talk about going forward here, the next presidential race. What candidate? Who's the candidate? Who do we see? Who's out there that can help us?
You know, I don't think we have one at this point on the Republican side. I'm not worried by that. I think competition is good in the marketplace for goods and services. I think it's good in the marketplace for politics, too. Let's have a debate, and above all, let's have candidates who understand why national security is important. Let's not fall prey to the temptation of isolationism. Let's remember what Ronald Reagan taught us is that we achieve peace through strength.
Boy, and what a great note to end on.